What is happening, everybody? Welcome back to the Red Wonders channel. It's a new video. We've got league predictions for the Irish League. Who will stay up? Who will win the league? Who will win the Irish Cup, the League Cup, this Shield as well? We've got it all in this video. Let's get into number 12. In number 12, I've got Loughgall. I just think coming up from the Championship last season, they won the league quite comfortably. I just don't think they have a strong enough squad to compete with different teams or these types of teams in the Irish League. Their squad, I don't really know any of the players that they've signed, to be honest. That's why I've put them last. It's quite lazy putting a new promoted team last, but I don't really want to go much into them because I don't know much about them. Hopefully, I learn more about them during the Irish League season, and they might surprise me. Who knows? But let's get into number 11. Getting into number 11th, we've got Newry City. I think they'll come 11th because they've got a new manager in Gary Boyd. I think he'll try and implement a good style of football. But last season, they done well enough to stay up, finished 10th, didn't have to worry about that playoff. I just think last season they made the Newry City Showgrounds a hard place to go to. I know as myself as a Colombo fan, we just about beat them 2-1. It was a tough game right before the split. But they haven't really signed anybody. They've signed a few players from the bottom leagues, but I think they'll finish 11th. Getting into number 10, and I've put Dungannon in. I just think that they'll survive because of Rodney McAree. He obviously last season was assistant manager at the Glens and then was manager at the Glens. He got them European football. I think he'll do wonders with this Dungannon squad. Bringing in Ethan Devine is a statement signing at the bottom six. Great signing. I think he'll secure them just safety in the Irish League. I think they'll be safe by a good number of points as well. But I think that Dungannon will finish 10th. Getting into number 9, I think it'll be Ballymena United. I think they'll be safe, but a big loss was David Jeffrey at the end of the season. Got them the two Irish League Cup finals in a row. Made a few big signings as well for the new manager, Jim Irvin, who was a quality player for Ballymena, we all know. But they brought in players such as Colin Coates, experience. I thought he was our best centre back last season, best defender actually last season. Dono Rocks, who was actually a quality player at the end of last season, for Clinville, coming on as like a sub every game. But he had an awful tackle, this tackle against the Glens. And also Johnny McMurray from Warren Point. I don't know how he was playing for Warren Point. I thought he was good enough for the Irish League, but he's back in the Irish League. I think he'll score goals for Ballymena, and I think they'll finish ninth. Getting into number 8, I've got Glenavon. I think they've strengthened with players like Niall Quinn from Linfield on a free, who Clinville wanted, but he chose Glenavon. Gary Hamilton done really well last season. I remember he went on a big winning streak until he played the Glens in the playoffs. But I think they'll do really well this season. For obviously, first game they've got the Glens at Mourneview, which will be a tough game. But I think losing Fitzpatrick was a big loss. Their main point of goal scoring, everything went through Fitzpatrick. Got so many goals last season, and he's away to the Blues. Great signing for the Blues, which we'll talk about in a while. But Glenavon, I think they'll finish 8th. Now, getting into 7th, this is a European playoff spot. I think it'll be Carrick Rangers. I think they've made some unbelievable signings. Albert Watson, Andy Mitchell, Danny Purkis, which is a great centre from the Glens, Joe Crow, which is a great centre from the Glens as well. I don't really rate Purkis at the Glens, I'll be honest, but I think he'll smash it for Carrick, getting bags of goals. Will he gain a partnership with McGuckin, or will McGuckin leave Carrick? They've also got a few other good players, such as Ben Tilney, who I rate as a fullback. I think he's one of the best fullbacks in the league, but I think also Stuart King, I really rate him as a manager. I think he'll do really well with the squad, win a load of games in the league, and I think they'll finish 7th, get that European spot. Getting into number six, I've got Coleraine. Now, I've seen a lot of people predicting Clintwell to come sixth and Coleraine to finish above them, but I don't think that's going to happen, to be honest. They've brought in a few players, such as Graham Kelly from Larne. They also brought in Darren Cole, I think it is, from the Glens, and Davy McDade from Ballymena, which is just a weird one for me. I don't know why they signed him, but he's a proven goal scorer in the Irish League. It doesn't really hurt to send him. Shelvin, if I think it looks like he's going to stay definitely because Linfield's saying Fitzpatrick. But if he's so good. He is so good. Last season, joined top goal scorer. I don't think he actually got top goal scorer, but uh, Coleraine to finish sixth. They always finish sixth. They'll have a decent start, and then I think they'll just go away. Like last season, they were top of the league for a few weeks, and then they just died off, had a bad spell. But I think they'll come in sixth. Getting into fifth, and I've gone for Clintwell. I think they'll come fifth. I don't think they've got a strong enough squad. Obviously, new manager and Jim Jilton will be interesting to see how he does this season. He's got a big run of games upcoming from the 22nd to near the end of September with nearly, I think it's every team in the top six we're playing in that period. It will be interesting to see how he does and how his management team does as well. But we've obviously signed a few players such as I'm going to pronounce his name wrong. It's like Odu Sumo or something from St. Pat's, the keeper. And Ben Wilson from Brighton on a free got released. But in pre-season, Ben Wilson's impressed a lot of people. I think he'll do well. And I think he'll start every game because now, obviously, the news broke the other day that Ronan Hill tore his ACL, which is awful news for Reds fans. 29 goals last season. Oh my God. I don't know how we're going to do without him. But looks like we might be sending a few more players before the window. On Tuesday night at one point, I was up there. There was a few players on trial from different clubs. But I think Clem will finish fifth. I think I just don't know. I don't trust the squad, to be honest. We have a load of players, but if you look at the bench, it's not really good depth. It's not good players. Malin to come back is something which I'm very excited for. I think he played 3 games last season, and he was unreal in the 3 games. But I think Clem will finish fifth. Now, getting into number four, I've went for the other side of North Belfast. I went for Crusaders coming in fourth. Won the Irish Cup last season. What an achievement! They win it. It looks like they win it every year. But they're doing really well in Europe this season, to be honest, in the qualifiers. Better than anybody else expected. Uh, they won was it like the Community Shield or something a few weeks ago. They beat Larne up at Inver. But I think they'll finish fourth. They've brought in a few big players, to be honest. A big player being Jimmy Colliger. What a signing. I think anybody else would have took him. Great leader. He was so good for Linfield. Uh, but it'll be interesting to see how he does at the Cruise. They also signed James Teelan from Newry City, which is a good signing. They signed Williamson from Ballymena. Baxter, I think, will get them fourth. I think that's a good place this season compared to last season where I think they finished fifth. Yeah, they did finish fifth, but it's an improvement. I think they'll finish fourth. Getting into third in the Irish League, I think it'll be Glentoran. They've signed good players, not so many players. They've signed good players. Darrell O'Connor, Sule. Uh, they've also lost out on McManaman and Terry Devlin. Terry Devlin went to Portsmouth and McManaman went to St Mirren. Two quality players last season for the Glens. But Darrell O'Connor used to play for Clintwell, quality player. He's playing the Scottish League, or no, the Scottish Championship, I think he was playing last season. These are two good recruitments. Sule last season was so good for Larne and then snaked them and went to the Glens, which is just hilarious to be fair. People are saying Glens for the league. I can see why they're saying it for the league because I think they have the best squad in the Irish League, or maybe not the best squad. They might compete with Larne for first, but I just don't think they'll do it, to be honest. One thing I haven't talked about is Warren Feeney's came in. Obviously, a Linfield legend. It's one to the Glens. I don't think the fans were pretty happy about that. But to be fair, I think they'll give him time. People are saying it's going to be a second race between Midgelton and Feeney. I don't think it really will. I think they'll both do reasonably well in the Irish League this season. But I think the Glens will come third. obviously they got put out of Europe the other week in the maddest game I think I've ever seen. Something like a ridiculous penalty scores, like 18-17 or something ridiculous like that. But I think they'll finish third. I think that'll be a decent season. Second place in the Irish League this season, I think, will be Larne. They've signed a few good players, such as Omar, some guy from Real Salt Lake as well, which has been announced today, and Levi Ash from Clonmel, which is a brilliant signing in my opinion. Obviously, I was talking earlier, they lost Sule, which is a big loss. That game a few weeks ago, Farquhar came on for Bolger. Bolger looked like he pulled his groin, to be honest. Farquhar looked really good, to be fair. Sean Want, I think he's a brilliant player, but I don't think they'll go. I don't think they'll win the league as easily as they did last season. They went just run rat in the split. Uh, but I think they'll finish second. I think Tiernan Lynch will do well enough with that squad. To be fair, they've spent big money on Ives, 70,000. I think Tiernan Lynch will do really well with this squad. I think it might go down to like the last day for the league, to be honest, between maybe them three, or it might just be my first on Larne. But anyway, I'm going to put Larne in second. The winner of the Irish League this season will be Linfield. I think Linfield will win the league. Uh, David Healy got rid of a good few players at the end of last season, such as Jimmy Gallagher, but he got rid of a lot of experience and brought in a few good players, such as Finlayson on a permanent is a great signing. Fitzpatrick, what a signing as well. I think he'll buy goals for the Blue. And Jack Scott, he was really good in that European game a few weeks ago. I think he scored one or two, but he looked really, really good. I think David Healy is a manager. I think he's a good quality manager, and I think he'll bring the league back to Linfield this season. I think David Healy has proven that he knows how to get a big result with that Linfield team. New players. I'll see what style of football he played because he got criticised last season for playing quite defensive football. But I think he'll make Windsor Park. I mean, it always is a hard place to go to, but he'll make it an even harder place to go to. But I think Linfield will win the league. Now, for the final bit of the video, we're going to get into who's going to win the cups. I think, personally, for the Irish Cup, I think it's a tough one for me. I think Larne will win the Irish Cup. I think they'll win their first Irish Cup, and I think they'll play the Cruise. I think Cruise will get to the final again. Clonmel will not get anywhere near the final because we just know how to bottle the Irish League all the time. But I also think for the League Cup, I think Linfield will win the League Cup as it did last season against Coleraine. I don't know. I don't know who's going to be in the final. I think Clonmel might get to the final, but I think Clonmel will actually win a trophy this season. I think it'll be the Shield. We always get knocked out by Linfield on penalties, but hopefully this season we can beat them on penalties or just in the actual game. But anyway, this is the end of the video. Cheers for watching. There'll be our game week 1 predictions out tomorrow. This is the end of the video. Cheers for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you later.